Sunday. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of True Story Live. Tonight's topic, transgressions, cheating hearts, Midnight City. And I got to tell you, I'm hyped for this one. It's on a topic that I think a lot of people can relate to. Whether you're in a marriage or friendship or just relationships in general, there's a lot of things that I think are going to be meaningful to everyone. So buckle up and we'll get into that in just a minute. But first, we'll introduce the panel. As usual, I'm the host of tonight's broadcast. My name is Jason Cripps. And with me are three wonderful people that take time out of their busy Sunday to join me, which I always appreciate. I try to tell them, live how much I appreciate it, but maybe I haven't said that in a while. But first, we'll go to the writer of tonight's write-up, our friend from Australia, Glenn. Glenn, say hello to the people.
Yeah, hi. I had to remember how to do a write-up. I went back and pulled an old one out. Said, okay, I'll just copy over that.
Okay. Well, that's good.
I thought, try to find a topic that follows on from what Jen did last week, and we had the before last week, and now we've got the after.
Yeah. Well, I think you did. Great.
Happens.
Yeah. So, just so everybody knows, I haven't read the whole thing. I just read the questions, and from the questions alone, I feel like it's going to be an enjoyable topic for everyone. So, thank you.
So want differences of opinion, and that's really what we're here for.
Yeah, absolutely. That is what we're here for. We're here to discuss sometimes hard things, and we're here to accept other people when they disagree with us and hopefully find common ground. I've heard you say that a couple times, and also within the realm of debate, trying to find common ground between two opposing sides. It applies to a lot of different things within the world that we live in. Finding common ground, it's always a good thing. We try to do several of those things here, but thank you, Glenn. And also we have with us Marisa of the Nez Lever channel. If you haven't gone over to visit her channel yet, don't know who she is or where she's from or what she does, please visit her channel, and she will post a link at some point tonight. She does artwork and sometimes singing, and just all the time really enjoyable broadcast to listen to on a Friday or Saturday night. Mostly that's when she does broadcasts. She might surprise everyone and pop in a surprise art session. This is also something my wife, Jennifer, and I'll introduce her in a minute. She goes and joins her, and it's just really, really great. Anyway, that's enough blathering on about Nez's channel. But Marisa, take a minute and say hello to everyone, please.
Well, thank you, Jason. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another awesome episode of True Story Live. And our own Glenn has fielded up the topic for discussion tonight. So I got my hip boots on, looking forward to getting hip deep in one more discussion. And yes, it's true. I like to have fun with my art, do a bit of singing on my channel, Nez Lever. And sometimes our own Starling Swallow will come and be a guest with me, having her fun with her art right along with me. And I hope you'll come by and check it out one of these times. All right. Well, that being said, I will be posting a few links in chat as the night progresses. Now, my friends that come over, they're used to it. They enjoy having their links shared. But if you're new and you would like your link shared, please let us know in the chat. We'll share it. If you do not want your link shared, please let us know, and we will respect your wishes. That being said, looking forward to getting started and having a great discussion.
Great. This is, in my opinion, all about respect, being respectful of others, and we will respect you if you're here in the TSL chat, and those listening too. Hopefully you feel respected. Anyway, thank you, Marisa. And last but certainly not least, my amazing wife, Jenny. Jenny, say hello to the people.
How to do, people? Looking forward to tonight's write-up. I have not pre-read it, so I'm just going to go cold calling it.
Yep.
Cold listen.
Cold call. Cold read.
But it is good to be here, and I really appreciate everybody that joined us last week and everybody that's here tonight. Welcome, welcome.
All right.
Say
Jen,
hey to the people in the chat.
Say hey to the people in the chat.
All right. We got Debbie S here. Hey, Debbie.
Hey, Debbie.
And then John Robb is here. Hey, John. He says hi, all. And then we have me, Inez, and Glenn. So far, we'll keep saying hey to you guys as y'all pop in.
Yep. You got it. All right. Let's dig right in. Oh, one more thing before I dig right in. When Nez says get hip deep, I cannot help but have the mental image of hip waders that people put on to walk into a stream and do fly fishing. My grandpa had a pair of those, and I'd always know when he was going out the river, when you'd see grandpa put on his hip waders, and then he'd go out there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and I would go out there and watch them. It's really boring, really, to watch someone fly fish, in my opinion. I think
it's relaxing. Sorry, I interrupted you. My apologies. I'm embarrassing you again in public.
Don't embarrass me in public.
Maybe myself. I'm embarrassing myself. Sorry.
Autonomy.
Keep going.
No. So to me, in the past, now there's a movie called River Runs Through It, and there was a character in that movie that was fly fishing. He was talking about how much he loved it, things like that, and kind of changed my opinion of it a little bit later in life. But I liked watching my grandpa do it because he wasn't much of a talker, so just sit there and watch him. And really nice outside usually. But anyway, when Marisa says that, it's an image and it's a pleasant image that comes into my mind, and that's metaphorically what we try to do with these topics. We try to put our hip waders on and go into the stream and fly fish, with the hope of catching something. All right. Let's dig right in. Glenn did the write-up for tonight, and the topic is Transgressions, Cheating Hearts, Midnight City. On the website, Christianity.com, under the heading Infidelity in Marriage and Faith, it says, quote, Christians should know that infidelity and adultery are grave sins that have severe consequences for their marriage and spiritual lives. Not only is infidelity a transgression against the trust of love of a spouse, but a crisis of faith. In breaking the commandments of God, like committing adultery, we demonstrate a lack of faith and love for God. In addition to likely ruining a marriage, infidelity can lead to damnation if severe repentance is not achieved. I find this grave sins, severe consequences, crisis of faith, lack of faith, severe repentance, etc., to be heavy going. And that's just me. So what about the thoughts of those here regarding the above two paragraphs? This evening, the aim is to look at a range of scenarios and gauge responses, thoughts, etc. It's understood that adultery is one of the 10 commandments, but it's obvious that this is but the tip of the iceberg of what individuals may see as cheating or betrayal within a relationship. This evening, the aim is to look... Oh, I already read that one. Tonight's song is M83 Midnight City. 2 links, a live performance, and lyrics. Such a sensual song, perfect for several contexts. Take your pick. And the links are indeed in the description. As I have no, quote, crisis of faith, end quote, and my intimate relationships are not based on rules or boundaries, but rather an open communication and agreement between two people, issues like adultery, cheating, or infidelity don't exist unless someone has not declared themselves honestly in the first place. That means that two people together decide how the dynamics of their relationship will play out. And if they wish to change that arrangement, it is a case of having the integrity to put this on the table. No sin, no guilt, no recrimination, no forgiveness required. As I see it, it's not really about any act per se, but the betrayal of trust and respect that tests and potentially breaks the connection. The question is, why does adultery seem to be so important in the biblical scheme when it is just one aspect of cheating? Okay, some quick statistics before we get to the questions. In the in the 8th April 2015 USA edition of the Associated Press Journal, Marital and Family Therapy, the following was outlined. 41% of 41% of one of both spouses admitted to infidelity, either physical or emotional. 57% of men admitted to infidelity, either physical or emotional. 54% of men admitted to infidelity, either physical or emotional. 74% of men would have an affair if they knew they would not get caught. 68% of women would have an affair if they knew they would not get caught. 31% of marriages where there has been infidelity continue afterwards. 31%. Wow. Are these crazy numbers or what? To be clear, none of this is to cast judgment on the morality of any individual. Looking at a marriage or committed relationship, what are your responses to the questions below? For example, do you perceive as cheating, betrayal, or something else? Number 1, keeping past or present secrets or selectively hiding information that could cause a rift. 2, not declaring that you have fallen out of love or like for your partner. 3, not forgiving your partner for an indiscretion, but saying you do forgive them. 4, isolating and gaslighting your partner because they, quote, hurt you, unquote. Going out to dinner, events, or spending time with another. That's number 5. Number 6, giving compassionate and emotional support to someone other than your partner. Number 7, flirting with another in a suggestive or sexually inferred manner. Number 8, secretive online communications with others, even if innocent. Number 9, engaging in cyberspace relationships of a sexual nature. Number 10, fantasizing about being with someone else, whether it be physical or emotional. Number 11, watching pornography without telling your partner. Number 12, watching pornography together with your partner. Number 13, if you have cheated, do you consider it cheating if your partner revenge cheats? Number 14, your partner goes to a work conference with another and shares a room with them. Number 15, your partner engages in explicit sexual activity with another without intercourse. There could be 100 questions, so I ask, has anyone anything more to add? All right, and I'll read the closing at the end and the quote from Mr. Paulo. All right, we'll save that to last. You have that to look forward to, and me trying to pronounce his first and last name. Look forward to that for later. All right, before we get started, a couple people popped in the chat. Let me stop and just say hello to them real quick. First, we have Face the Ace. Welcome. We also have our friend Christ is the Truth, who hopped in the chat as well. And Celine, our friend Celine, who was the inspiration for last week's broadcast that Jen wrote and did. Welcome, Celine. We're glad that you're here. All right. Does anyone know what happened to Angel Martin? No. Did you hear something, or are you just asking in general, Celine? I haven't spoken to her probably 3 years.
Oh, I remember Angel.
Yeah, Angel. Yep. Did a lot of broadcasts together in relation to Sister Lisa's program, and also with what was it? CES. That's all I can think of. Like Church
I have
of
a quick question.
Yeah.
For Glenn regarding the last percentage statistic. It says 31% of marriages where there has been infidelity continue afterwards. That means that they stayed together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
I didn't know if it meant they continued the affair afterwards. I was like, okay.
No. It means that they've resolved it to a point where the relationship continues.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
And I think I might have made a typo, which I know Rick Cripps read out in one of the stats, and I'd have to find it, but it was the second. Hang on, let me find it. Yeah, because I copied things down that I didn't get it right. Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me. 54% of women, it is, admitted to infidelity, either physical or emotional. So it's 57% of men, 54% of women.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, that was my typo. My
That's all right.
apologies.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we declared it. So 54% of women, 57% of men admitted to infidelity, either physical or emotional. Okay.
There must be a lot of mind games going on. That's all I could say because I just can't see how half the population's going to be shagging someone else. Like it doesn't seem to be.
Like, wait a
Well,
minute.
certainly not in this town.
It seems high to me. I mean,
It's ridiculous, isn't it? Like,
I know that
yeah.
people cheat. I know that, but 57%? Wow. That's crazy. 41% of one of both spouses admitted to infidelity, either physical or emotional. 57% of men admitted to infidelity, physical or emotional. 54% of women, same. 74% of men would have an affair if they knew they would not get caught. Now, that one probably surprises me more than the amount of people that have committed infidelity, that there are 74% of men that would have an affair if they knew they wouldn't get caught. That's crazy to me. 68% of women would have an affair if that's high too to me, would not get caught. 31% of marriages where there has been infidelity continue afterwards. That makes sense to me. That's probably the one that makes the most sense because, I don't know. I have a very dim view of infidelity, but I'm sure that'll come out in the answering of the question. So
Oh,
I'll,
but this is mind blowing if it's correct.
yeah,
Like, I just don't see it personally, but maybe I live in a very sheltered world.
yeah. Well, I don't know if that's the case. It's just I think you look at things differently than a lot of people. Um, I mean, I don't see you ever considering an affair. I mean, we've talked about it before,
Yeah.
and you have brought up that if you did want to have an affair, you'd bring it to the table.
Absolutely, but I wouldn't. I mean, it just to me makes because I think it. I just keep we keep coming back to this fundamental self-respect and respect for the other person.
Right.
How do you do that to someone? My besides the fact that if my mum was alive, she'd beat the crap out of me.
Right.
I didn't teach you very well, did I? Wow, that's it.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
no, it's not. It just is something I just can't even mindset towards. So therefore, no, not at all.
All right. All right. So let's dive right in. And as Jen said, anyone else comes in, we'll make sure and say hello to them. If you see anyone new, do as you always do, please, guys, in the chat to make them feel welcome. Okay. Do that for me. I would appreciate it. All right. So there's a set of questions below, but I want to touch on this one that Glenn highlighted that's closer to the top. And he asks, the question is, and this may be rhetorical, but I still think it's interesting to get everyone's opinion on this. The question is, why does adultery seem to be so important in the biblical scheme when it is just one aspect of cheating? Now, what I read into that is there are many other ways that a person can cheat. It's not just physical adultery. Is that kind of what can be implied by that, Glenn?
Yeah, well, obviously, I mean, there's some of the parts in the questions that could come up, but I don't know what I'm allowed to say and not get striked. But it
Oh,
just seems to be so specific
yeah,
to one act. Uh, I just wonder. Well, there's got to be a rationale for why, because there's
yeah,
so many other things here that, my goodness, I
yeah.
think you don't have to look too far to say, well, gee, that's pretty well at least equal to what you the Christians define as adultery.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it because certainly in the Old Testament, Yahweh was jealous, and the first commandment was all about not worshiping other gods, and then so adultery to him. I mean, there are many books in the Bible that are all about Israel's adultery with God, which um, to me seems weird. That there was that much time spent on that topic, preoccupied with uh, adultery. So, I mean, it's really not arguable. Anybody that reads the Old Testament can see that Yahweh was very concerned about adultery. And so if he's concerned about people committing adultery with him, certainly he'd be concerned about us committing adultery with each other. But then it gets confusing, because in some parts of the Bible, you can have a lot of wives. So to me, that's adultery, but it wasn't as frowned upon in the Old Testament. So anyway, we might come back to.
So apologies. I just need to just ask you, like, when we get to this severe repentance, grave consequences, crisis of faith. I mean, how do you guys see that? Do you agree with that, or those first two paragraphs, or not? Do you think it's that heavy, or do you think that's fair play?
That's a great question, and I would love to hear what everyone else thinks. But I think it very much depends on the person, like how into this stuff they are. I think the guilt of having an affair after the fact for someone that is really connected with the commandments, a legalistic person, for instance, it could be devastating. I mean, just the weight of the quote unquote sin, for lack of a better word, it can eat people up. I mean, I have heard stories from people how much it has affected the person who actually had the affair. A lot of the focus is on the victim, the spouse who was jilted. But then, a lot of times it affects both people. So I think it is heavy. I just don't know if my view of God, it has changed so much that I don't see it as being so heavy, in my opinion, as I used to think, and not as heavy as other people might think. I don't know if that answered the question or not. How does anyone else feel about what Glenn's asking?
Can you ask one more time? I didn't catch the full.
Yeah, Glenn?
We're just asking, Jen, do you think that those first two paragraphs, as quoted from the Christianity.com website, are heavy, or do you think realistic?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is heavy. I just pulled it up. It is heavy, like many things are in this world, Let's see. What was the second part of that question? Is it heavy? And Jason, what was the last part?
What was that?
Oh, hold on. I'm going to read through it. Keep talking, and I'm going to read through the rest. See if I have anything else to say.
Well, okay. Do you see it as a crisis of faith for a start? A lack of faith that you would do something, that you need to do severe repentance. Otherwise, there's damnation. I mean, wow. Crikey, that'd do your head in, wouldn't it?
I think the blood of Christ is very, very strong and powerful. And I believe that if somebody makes a mistake and cheats, that they can be forgiven. I think I'm trying to think if I believe that it's always a crisis of faith. I'm trying to wonder if someone can, so if someone's following God and the Bible, and they love God and Jesus, I like truly in their heart, and they're abiding with him, I don't feel like a person could cheat on their spouse if they're in that place within their heart and soul and mind. So, I mean, I don't know if I'd need more details on the specific situation of someone committing adultery. I mean, I do believe it's a crisis of faith in the sense, because the Bible talks against having affairs. It is a sin against your own body. It's a sin against your spouse. It's a sin against God. So yeah, I do believe a crisis of faith is weaved into that.
Sure.
I'm trying to, if you want to add something, Jay, I'm still gathering my thoughts on that.
Well, no, and more will come out when we get into the actual questions, when all of us are answering too. I think we'll fill it in. So I'd like to come back to it.
Okay.
And get into the questions, Jen, and that'll also give you more time to formulate a different response or add more to it if you'd like to. Before we get rolling, Annette Sandrock popped in, and we're going to say hello to her. And also our friend Jamie Grace popped in as well. Good to see you, Jamie. Glad you're here. Glad both of you are here, Annette and Jamie. Welcome. Well, that fantastic turnout for tonight, and we're grateful for that. Thank you guys again for coming. Christ is the Truth asked a question about something I said. What do you mean by legalistic person, though? Great question, Truth. What I believe a legalistic person is someone who doesn't understand fully the role grace plays from a loving God. Meaning, if they were committed adultery or someone committed adultery against them, they would tend to be more of a hardliner and go by the quote unquote book instead of leaving room to be graceful for what the person did. I hope that explains it, but if you want me to fill it out more, just ask, and I'll be more than happy to fill it in a little bit if that wasn't good enough. Okay. All right. So looking at marriage or committed relationships, what are your responses to the questions below? For example, do you perceive as cheating, betrayal, or something else? Number 1, keeping past or present secrets or selectively hiding information that could cause a rift. I just have to say, there are 15 questions, and I'm chomping at the bit for this first one, but I would like to open it up if someone else wants to answer first. Keeping past or present secrets or selectively hiding information that could cause a rift. So do you perceive that as cheating, betrayal, or something else?
I think it's lying and keeping secrets, because I believe that omission is still lying.
Yeah.
When you know that your spouse would want to know these secrets or what you're thinking about or
Sure.
information that you have, I think it's really important to be completely open with your partner.
Yeah.
And you and I, Jason, have had many conversations about this.
Yeah.
The snowball effect is disastrous. Like if they find out before you get the chance to tell them,
Yep.
or if it puts your family in some kind of danger, whether financially or physically, all this stuff, and it's catching your spouse off guard.
Yeah.
I just think keeping secrets is a relationship killer. And even if the secret doesn't come out, the weight that you carry, knowing that you're holding something back from your significant other that you propose to love,
Yep.
it eats away at you.
Yeah.
It affects you. I believe it affects your heart and your spirit. I don't know if I would call it cheating. I do think it's a form of betrayal.
Yeah.
And lying. That's not good.
All right. Thank you, Jen. Does anyone else want to weigh in before I take a run at it? No?
Go, Jason, go.
Okay, right out of the gate, number 1, keeping past or present secrets or selectively hiding information that could cause a rift. I think it's all three. It is cheating, it is betrayal, and the something else is, I think it's potentially painful and destructive. As Jen just said, she and I had these conversations about this. What do you think about what if this happened or what if that happened? These hypothetical scenarios, in our relationship. And I have offered that, just like Jen said, if I lied to Jen or kept a secret, whether it was past or present, or choosing to selectively hide information that could be damaging to us, the guilt would eat me up. And part of that is the love I have for Jen, but the other part of that is the level of integrity that has been building in me over the past, many decades, but certainly over the past 7 or 8 years. I just, when I think about it, some things, if I even think about what that would feel like, I get the feeling a little bit like I can bring it up. It's kind of like when someone talks about hitting you in your nether regions for a guy, you get this visceral reaction. That's what it feels like to me when thinking about hiding something from Jen. Now, what I'm about to say is not bragging in any way. It just is how it is, and Jen can back me up. When we were friends and we had talked about our interest in one another, I told her everything from my past, every possible thing that I could think of, knowing that she could have listened to that and decided that she didn't want to be in a relationship with me. And I did that because I wanted to not start the relationship with any secrets, anything hidden. I wanted it all be open and on the table. I mean, I have this the picture that I've used, and I have a couple different colors that Jen found for me. But this thing it says, "Oh, open," and I've talked about that in the past, what that means, and I'll just briefly touch on it. What it means to me is that I'm an open person. My doors are open, my heart is open, my eyes are open, my ears are open. I'm just open. And I have systematically been working on becoming more open, and I'm still working on it. I think there are some things that I'm not as open about. And sometimes people listening to me can think I'm too open. I divulge too much. I talk too much about what I've struggled with and my views on things. But this is what works for me. And in a relationship, I believe if you start a relationship holding secrets, keeping secrets, selectively hiding information, you're opening yourself up to a potential rift for sure, because you don't know when something's going to come out, either from someone else or some discovery. And they do this in TV shows and movies all the time, where a wife's pulling a box down from looking for something and finds porn or finds documents of a previous marriage or whatever. And the rest of the movie or the TV shows about what kind of damage that causes. And
Yeah.
I don't want that. I want my relationship to be about moving forward. Yeah, sometimes you talk about things from the past so you can get a better idea of where you've been so you can move forward. But I don't want that to be a secret that has popped up that I didn't divulge, that Jen were to find out about, and I'm not the one that told her. To give a quick example of this, I got a DUI back in 2002. It was one of the worst things that ever happened to me, and one of the best things, because it woke me up, and I went through a lot to get my license back and to get my freedom back, and paid a lot of money and took alcohol classes. It was just a big part of my life for 15, 16 months because of one poor choice that I made. Well, that's one of the things I told Jen about, because I had talked to people that really have a pretty bad view, and they should. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but when you tell someone you got a DUI, many times it's the furrowed brow, and I feel like they think differently about you, when in actuality there are a lot of people that do it, and they shouldn't be doing it, and I shouldn't have been doing it. But it's something I told Jen about. It's one of the many things that I shared with her from my past. And she was very accepting of it, and we moved forward, and we weren't talking or thinking about it anymore. But we went over to my sister's house for a dinner party or playing games and stuff. And the sibling rivalry and stuff. My sister, and I forget why she brought it up, but she blurted out about my DUI. Now, if I hadn't told Jen about the DUI, I think she would have been okay with it, and we probably could have worked through it, because she's very graceful. But because I told her, it didn't blow things up. That's just an example. That's a pretty good example in my opinion.
It is a good example, yeah.
So that's my answer. I think it is cheating. It's not physical cheating, but it is risking damaging a relationship, because if you're keeping secrets, even if they're past secrets, I would think the other person would be concerned that you might keep other secrets.
Yeah, it really does a number on trust.
Right. And I don't want it to do a number on trust. I want trust is important to me, both ways. So there you go. That's my answer. Who would like to go next?
I suppose I'll have to, since Nez is not coming forward.
Okay.
Look, I can appreciate what each of you said. I think as much as I don't like labels, I can see all of those in what you said. I think, on a personal note, I never understood when I was younger just how important this is.
Right.
You see the world more from a rose-coloured glasses and trying to protect yourself from potential rejection. But as you hopefully get further down the road with a bit more experience, you realise this really is an issue of self-respect and respect for the other person.
Yes.
And at that point, you say it is not fair of me to potentially waste another person's time. So the only reasonable thing to do is to spill my guts, and if they walk away, too bad.
Yeah.
But you find, I think, a lot of times they tend to stay specifically because you have respected them.
Yeah.
So that's
Yep.
what I think.
You touched on something I briefly mentioned when I was answering the question, and that is not just about the other person, but your own self-respect of not hiding things or being secretive, hiding information, past or present secrets. So I think that's an important point to make, that it shouldn't just be about the other person. It should be about what are you willing to allow in your relationship. I think that's an excellent point. And for me, I don't want that for myself. It's not just about Jen or the other person. It's that I don't want to keep secrets. I don't want to. Sure, part of it is the risk of imploding the relationship or causing a rift, like the question reads.
Yeah.
But the other part is I don't want to be a person that hides things from my partner. I don't want that.
I think perhaps too the other thing is it immediately takes all the pressure and stress out of the situation. You've blurted it out. It's out there now. Well, that's it.
Yeah.
What will happen from here will happen, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
Except be yourself, and
Yeah.
you don't go home thinking, oh, geez, I should have done this. I feel guilty. No, it's all none of that rubbish.
Right.
It's all out. It's all straight up front. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Christ, before we get to Marisa, Christ is the Truth said, sorry to hear that, Cripps. I think were you talking about the DUI, or I'm not sure what you're referring to. So I'll wait to comment if you want to briefly put in there what thing you're sorry to hear about.
I wonder if he's meaning your sister bringing it up out of the blue.
Oh, maybe the DUI.
Yeah,
Okay,
he said
thank
yeah,
you.
DUI. Okay.
Yeah. So, Truth, I think within Christian circles, that's a blight. It's a blight on me. I'm sure it says a lot of things to people, even though it was, it was 22 years ago. I mean, it's been a long time ago, and it was never repeated. Of course, that behavior was stopped in its tracks. And that's why I say it's one of the things I'm grateful that I got caught. I wasn't, at the time, I wasn't drinking a lot even. I wasn't driving drunk, and I wasn't living that way. But that's one of the reasons why I'm glad it happened, because I do it one night and then I got caught, when in the past I did it more frequently. Not to that extent. This night I had no business being out in public, let alone behind the wheel of a car. And I don't feel remorse. I mean, I've already gone through the remorse, and I've already paid my price, and thank God no one got killed. I didn't kill myself. It really scared me, and it should scare people, because it's very, very dangerous and disrespectful of other people around you. And one of the things when I was going through the alcohol class, they, of course, show these videos of people that are going through the same thing, except in their stories, they killed someone and they're in prison. And one guy, and I can see his face in my mind right now. It's been over 22 years ago. And he injured himself to the point where he had to wear those crutches that you put around your wrists. They're not the ones you put under your arm. They're on your on your arm, your forearms, and he killed someone. So he was in prison. He injured himself to the point where he would walk with crutches the rest of his life, and he was in prison for a number of years. That could have happened to me, but by the grace of God, that could have happened to me, and it would have broken me apart to know that by my foolish action, I killed someone. Even now thinking about it, it's too horrible. It's too horrible to even really consider. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate what you said. It's not good. And I did, like I said, I did pay the price for it. I mean, it was very costly to me. And, I very much like my own freedom. And when they take your license away and you can't drive, or you can only drive to certain places, like I think I got a work license. But the problem was the DUI happened in South Carolina where I lived, and my dad had a lot of work. I was working for him at the time, and he had a lot of work in North Carolina. So I could drive to the state line, and then I would have to get a ride from someone, right, to go to work. And that went on for a year and 6 months. It was only supposed to be a year, but the rigmarole that happened with the DMV, they kept it got extended because they couldn't get the paperwork fixed. And that's a story for another time. I'm not going to go into all that, but it ended up being way longer than it was supposed to be. But yeah, didn't do it again. Have no desire to ever do it. And it was just very much a learning experience. But anyway, I think that's enough about that. Marisa, number 1, keeping past or present secrets or selectively hiding information that could cause a rift. Do you perceive that as cheating, betrayal, or something else?
A little bit of everything, but when you boil it down, it's dishonesty, and it's behavior that comes out of fear, whether that's fear of what might come of sharing what you're hiding, or fear of being judged, what you're not being open about, or you're doing something that's bad for you and or bad for someone else, and you're going to keep on doing that, and you want to still be able to do that and have whatever it is you think you have with the person you think you have it with. So between selfishness and fear, I think lies a lot of that.
Wow, good point. Selfishness. Yeah. Wow. That is part of it. Marisa, thank you for that. Yeah. Is it selfish of a person to keep secrets like that? Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely it is, because they're not considering what the other person may say, think, feel, or do. It's like the other person just doesn't matter. Or much to the other person's chagrin, if they really knew, they just don't matter as much as they thought they did. Yeah. Been there too.
Boom.
But that's another topic for another show. Now
write it down.
Very good point, Marisa. Right out of the gate on the first question. Fantastic. Not surprised, but very pleased. All right. Everyone answer that one. And by the way, guys in the chat, if you would like to answer these questions in the chat, we'll definitely read them on the air. So please, if you'd like to, please answer the questions. So you've got number 1 in there. It is also in the description if you want to look at that, if you forget what the question was. But I'll read it again real quick. So the first question we asked, keeping past or present secrets or selectively hiding information that could cause a rift. Do you perceive that as cheating, betrayal, or something else? Okay, so there you go. Number 2, not declaring that you have fallen out of love or like for your partner. Do you perceive that as cheating, betrayal, or something else? And Jen, do you want to go first? Okay, go ahead.
I think it's dishonesty. And if there is a potential for things to get better and be mended, how is it going to get to that point if you're not being honest? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, I know there's cases where someone's in danger, they're in abuse, and they're in danger. So I could see someone hiding that fact because they're afraid for their safety. But if you're not in that position,
right,
it's lying to them, and it's also lying to yourself in some
sure,
cases.
sure,
Especially if on the flip side you're convincing yourself you still are if you're not, or that they're fine, or if there's major stuff going on behind the scenes.
yeah, excellent. Glenn, number 2, not declaring that you have fallen out of love or like for your partner.
Well, I think it's very naughty because I think it's come about by not declaring the little things along the way that could have been potentially resolved, and now it's gone into full escalation mode.
Yep.
So in many cases, it's deceptive behaviour, I would think.
Yeah.
And not fair.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
it isn't. I mean, look, I think we're all wise enough now to know when someone's shutting us out or giving us the cold shoulder or getting emotionally distant. I mean, you don't have to be a genius to figure when you're on the end of it.
right.
So I think once again, it's a case of if you get a choice, do you want it? How much do you want the relationship? And when you get to that point, well, it doesn't look good, does it? But do the small stuff whenever you think, like we've said 100 times in the past, in the moment. If you've got something that's annoying you, something else, declare it.
Yeah.
And get the respect that you'll get respect, self-respect once again, and you'll get the respect of the other person because you're giving them the opportunity to have their say as well, give their opinion. So, it's a two-way win.
I agree.
Deceptive.
And you got those instances where somebody feels that way and they're not telling their partner, and then if it ends up blowing up and say the person leaves because they're just so unhappy or whatever, a lot of times the other person's like, what's happening? Like, what is this about? Why is this happening? Because like you had just said, Glenn, the smaller things weren't talked about leading up to that big thing.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. Marisa, you're up next on this one, and then I'm going to ask you first on the next question. So just be ready.
Okay.
Not declaring that you have fallen out of love or like for your partner. Do you see that as cheating, betrayal, or something else?
It's dishonesty.
Mm.
It's all of it. It's dishonesty all the way around. What good could possibly come from staying in a relationship where you do not love the person, you do not have the respect for the person to be honest with the person? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you a narcissist and you're just having the other person for fuel? I mean, what is really going on?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all bad. It's all dishonesty.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you, Marisa. Our friend Bobby Myers in the chat. And Bobby, I just have to tell you, I love that you come to these broadcasts. I really do. I like your take on things and your perspective. Of course, I like everyone's perspective, but I just I'm always happy when you're here. So
hi, Bobby.
Hope that comes across well. And also I know you're one of Marisa's oldest friends, so that gives a little extra appreciation because Marisa's a great person, and I can't imagine what it must be like for you to have known her as long as you have.
Wow, the poor lady. She needs an award.
Well, I didn't say that.
I did. No, I did.
I know. I'm saying I didn't say it. You said it. Okay, great. Oh, that's funny. No, you can't imagine, Bobby says. Okay, so everyone answered but me, right? I'm last on this. Not declaring that you've fallen out of love or like for your partner. I liked everyone's answers, and I would agree with all of that. I think that if you don't talk to the person, it is lying, and I think it is a betrayal. I think you're betraying yourself and the other person. I think it was Jen that brought that up or touched on that a little bit. Yes, if you're in a violent situation, if you share this with your violent husband or violent wife, and puts you in danger. Yeah, I get that. But other than that, all things being equal, I believe in being honest. Now, it would be, if this ever happened, and it's not ever going to happen, I know it's not ever going to happen, but if I fell out of love with Jen, and it's a topic for another time, feelings to me aren't everything. I think within the Western world, at least, too much emphasis put on how a person feels all the time. I'm not saying that if years go by and you don't have feelings of love toward the other person, that's not a problem. It's just, sometimes you might have a bad day or a bad week or a bad month. And if it's just based on feelings, and that's why I always hope that a relationship is built on more than just feelings. It's based on mutual respect, and it's not just on the feelings. But that, like I said, that's a topic for another night. But not declaring it is the issue. Falling out of love is one thing. I think a lot of things can be done about that if that happens. It may be because the other person is not growing and changing, and you expected them to, and they're not, and you're growing and changing, and that can cause all kinds of problems. But if it's declared, then there's a chance that you can do something about it, bring it to the table and say, hey, this is the way I feel, and I don't like it, and here's maybe some reasons why. You've got a fighting chance if you do that. But if you don't declare it, and the other person finds out, like Glenn said, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out if your relationship is close, you can tell when something changes with the other person. But if the person isn't sharing it, it can really get out of hand. I know that I can pick up on certain things with Jen. Not about falling out of love, but when she's dealing with some stuff, and something feels different, or if she feels disconnected. Now, disconnected isn't falling out of love. It's just that the something feels weird in the connection. Now, I'm very blessed that when Jen feels that way, she tells me. And that gives me an opportunity to talk to her about it. And, you think it's this, or you think it's that, and we're able to talk through it. And there's never been a time that we had that discussion where afterwards the connection wasn't restored. It hasn't happened. So the point I'm making is that declaring it is the only chance I see in working through it. And if you don't declare it, it is a betrayal. I don't know if it's cheating, but it is very much, as Marisa said, dishonest. And it goes against being authentic, too, to me. You're not being authentic if you're not sharing. Share it and declare it, name it and claim it.
I was going to mention that, but didn't want to interrupt.
No, that's okay. So there you go. Everyone answered number 2? All right. Number 3, and Marisa, you're up first on this one. As I promised, we're trying to switch up the order a little bit. Not forgiving your partner for an indiscretion, but saying you do forgive them. Do you consider that cheating, betrayal, or something else?
All of it. It's all dishonesty. It's all a lie. And it's all not good.
Not too good. Yep.
Not good.
All right. Glenn.
Horrible. I think it's pretty disgraceful, actually.
Yeah.
Because it's a dead set lie. And I think we're very quickly getting to see that there's a lot of things here that are relationship killers, and you haven't even got near the bedroom of someone else.
Right. That's a good point.
That's the point I think is coming when I wrote it. I could just see, oh my goodness, you don't really have to go and sleep with someone to be down the tube real fast. No, and in society, it seems like they have these different rules. Like, that's not cheating. I'm not going to ruin it by moving ahead, but the point you're making is a good one. There are several things that lead up to being in the bedroom with someone else, and they
themselves. These first three questions, they can be relationship killers, as you said, without even getting to the having a physical affair or getting to the bedroom. Absolutely. And frankly, the first three are all symptoms of there being a real issue if the person is choosing to do these things, keeping secrets, not talking about falling out of love, if that's the case. And then this one, saying you forgive someone and you haven't really forgiven them. I think of the three, that's probably to me the most insidious, because it is a lie. It is a betrayal of honesty and integrity, both for yourself and for the other person. And forgiveness, biblically speaking, is one of the most important things. It's the bedrock of the whole Bible. I mean, God forgiving us and sending His Son to die. I mean, it's the bedrock of Christianity. So obviously the command by Jesus to forgive everyone and to keep forgiving them. It's not a one-time thing. So you're going against God's command to forgive one another, love one another, forgive one another. And so it is a betrayal. It's a betrayal of your own integrity. It's a betrayal, if you're a believer, it's a betrayal of God because you're disobeying Him. And it's a betrayal of the other person because you lied, and you lied about something huge, not forgiving the other person for something they did. I mean, Jesus admitted, no uncertain terms, if you don't forgive other people, you're not forgiven. Now, again, that's that's a topic for another time about what that actually means, but it's pretty clear. I think that if you're holding unforgiveness, that's enough. You don't need God not to forgive you. It's big enough on its own. You're not forgiving someone else, and certainly as a believer, you're going to be aware that that's disobedience, and it's a very uncomfortable feeling to live in as well. Jen?
Yeah, I was going to say something about your last thought, because I've heard a lot of stories of abuse survivors and where they were pressured by other people, sometimes the church and leaders, to forgive their spouse for cheating. And they might not be ready to forgive. I'm not saying this is correct or right, but just relaying stories I've heard where they end up telling their spouse they forgive them because they're getting hounded about it.
Right.
But a lot of times it's connected with there not being repentance on the other person's side or a change of behavior.
Oh.
So it ends up kind of snowballing into this, sometimes it's pressured. Sometimes I've done this before in the past where being a people pleaser, you want to forgive someone to let them off the hook because you don't want them hurting, but you're still hurting inside and you're still not okay. Which this could be a whole other topic of discussion for another show, but I'm sure everybody here has probably struggled with this at least once in their life, where you want to forgive someone, but you're still angry. And I would love to pose the question, can you genuinely forgive someone and still be angry and hurt? Because I think when I was younger, I thought that if I forgave someone and I was still angry and hurt, that it meant that the forgiveness I extended wasn't real.
Didn't take.
Or wasn't legit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I felt like in order to forgive, then all the feelings that were attached to that indiscretion should be gone away. So it's kind of confusing.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a good question. I would say, just without thinking a whole lot about it, I would say that, yeah, you can forgive someone, but still have hurt feelings.
Yeah.
I think
that's where I lean to.
Yeah. It seems like it can be two separate things. By forgiving the person, you mean that you're not holding it against them anymore. You have thought about it. You have considered what they've done. You've decided, obviously, to move forward in the relationship. However, you still have hurt feelings. You might have hurt feelings for a long time after you've quote unquote forgiven the person. I don't know. Someone else might have a different take on it, but that's just first thought that comes out of my mind there. What about you, Glenn, to Jen's additional question about forgiveness? Is it
this is a difficult one for me because forgiveness does not generally form part of my relationships because they run so smoothly. I think I've stuffed so many up in the past. I've got to the point now that hey, that it's all a piece of cake.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
if I was going to try to, just give me a run back, Jen, quickly what you said, please.
Yeah. So when I was younger, I would get confused because I thought in order to forgive someone, the act of forgiving would just erase all of the feelings attached to the situation. So I was confused, just thinking, like, did I actually forgive them because I'm still hurt and angry, or is proof of forgiveness sticking the proof of the feelings going away that are attached to being hurt?
Well, I think generally, just trying to come at this personally, I think if I was forgiving someone, that doesn't necessarily mean I'd forget what they did. But
Right.
Yeah.
but if I'm forgiving them, my expectation is that I've let it go.
Yep.
Why am I retaining residuals if I have forgiven them? It doesn't make
That's a
sense to me.
great question.
Yeah.
That's why it gets a little confusing.
Yeah.
But if you're holding it, that to me, if you're holding and still angry, that says you haven't forgiven them, to my mind.
Thank you, Glenn.
You've done what I'd call a partial forgiveness.
Yeah.
Partial.
Yeah.
What scripture is that, good sir? I'm just kidding.
Partial forgiveness. Partial forgiveness. Yeah.
No, but I see what you mean, Glenn. Thank you.
I think with forgiveness, if you're still holding resentment toward the other person, that Jen, to me, would be that you haven't really forgiven them, but
Yeah.
that you're still hurt by it. That can be separate.
Yeah.
To me.
Chris, I think the key to that is that for the person who has been so-called wrong, you have to make it clear to the forgiver exactly how you feel about what has happened and how hurt you were.
Yeah.
See, there's a double responsibility here. You can't just have someone laying out the forgiveness if they don't really comprehend and understand what they're actually forgiving, and because the other person hasn't really opened up and said, well, this is how I feel about all this.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
a two-way street once again.
No, I agree. Yeah. And that is the earmark of relationships, or the bedrock of relationships, is it most things affect both people. It's not just one person.
Yeah.
Bobby answered in the chat just real quick, unless they intend to forgive them only to find out they just can't get past it. And what exactly do you mean by forgive? Because I could forgive someone for cheating on me, but I'm also not going to give them a chance again. And that would be the end of the relationship. Yeah. It's a great point, Bobby.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And that's certainly that's your choice. And for you, you're saying that would be the end of the relationship. You're not going to give them another chance. And that's a choice you make. But I believe you can forgive someone and not be in a relationship with them. You're not carrying resentment toward what they did. And you can't leave yourself in a position to have something like that happen again, because it's very painful. So, in other words, you can end the relationship if you would choose to do that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're walking around with resentment and unforgiveness toward that person. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Bobby just said, why does it sound like we're blaming the person who can't forgive rather than the person who broke the trust and the vows? I don't know that we're blaming it. It's just that was the way the question was formed. Not forgiving your partner for an indiscretion. It doesn't, at least in my mind, it doesn't mean that that's blame. It's just we're not focusing on the person who did the actual indiscretion. But I think there's some other questions coming up that will highlight that a little bit more. So give us a minute and hopefully it'll make sense. But yeah, this isn't about blame, at least in my mind. It's just focusing in on the actual forgiveness part, and rightly so, based on a quote from Christianity Today. And within Christianity, forgiveness is a big deal, as I mentioned, because it's what the Bible is based on. It's all based on love and forgiveness from God and how we're supposed to treat each other. So it's huge. Okay, who didn't answer number 3? I think Marisa went first. I answered. Did everybody answer?
Don't think I answered this one.
Oh, I thought you went first, but maybe that was the last one. Go ahead. Not forgiving your partner for an indiscretion, but saying you do forgive them.
I did answer that. Yes. Never mind. Yep.
That's okay. Jen, did you answer?
I don't think I think I chimed in.
You chimed in. Go ahead and answer. Not forgiving your partner for an indiscretion, but saying you do forgive them.
Yeah, I think that falls again under the area of being dishonest. I can understand where someone might come from with that, and that's kind of where I was going with my thoughts after Glenn answered. But it is dishonest, point blank. It's not healthy for a relationship, and it's dishonest.
Right. Yeah, totally. Great questions. Number 4, isolating and gaslighting your partner because they quote unquote hurt you. Isolating and gaslighting your partner because they quote unquote hurt you.
Could you give a little example, Glenn, maybe like a hypothetical example on this one?
Yeah, thanks, Jen. Put a bullet in my head, won't you?
Sorry. Maybe Jason can come up with it.
I have to take a think on that one.
I got it.
Chris has got it. Oh, he's come to my rescue. Thank Chris.
Oh, I think it clicked for me too.
Yeah, so isolating would be what I have done in the past. I didn't trust people and I didn't want to be around other people. But if I did that in a relationship, it would be like kind of giving them the cold shoulder. Maybe not the silent treatment, but isolating from the person that you're in a relationship. And the gaslighting part would be anything that you said out of anger because of what they did. I mean, this ties into number 3 as well with the unforgiveness. Does that help at all? Or do you have
kind of? I think my take might be a little bit different, and
Sure.
Glenn can correct me if I'm wrong. But so this is hypothetically say that this is a husband isolating his wife and gaslighting her because the wife hurt him.
Yeah, punishment.
Is that okay? So it's used as punishment. Yeah, I would definitely say wrong. Those were really bad. Isolating them from their support groups and anybody that would understand where his wife's coming from, and then the gaslighting is just straight up emotional and psychological abuse.
Mm-hmm.
What they should do in this case, hypothetical husband, he should talk to her about the hurt. This is very passive aggressive and not good.
I would agree.
Not godly.
No, not at all. And I'll just add, it'll be really short. Yeah, and there are a lot of people that do that. They it's not just based on someone being hurt, just they isolate and gaslight their partner anyway. But if it's done because of some hurt, I mean, they hurt you and they're keeping, like Jen said, I think that was good enough, is that keeping them from their support group and keeping them in a constant place so that they can't heal, they can't move forward. Yeah, not good. Marisa.
Yes. Go ahead. What was it?
Isolating and gaslighting your partner because they hurt you. Do you see that as cheating, betrayal, or something else?
I see that as toxic, manipulative, narcissistic behavior. That's what I see that as.
Yeah.
We can't forget about those manipulative, controlling narcissists.
No.
But yeah, it's not good. That's a form of manipulation and control and abusive behavior.
Yeah. Thank you, Marisa.
Yeah.
Glenn, number 4.
I'd say chicken heart. Yeah. Lack of courage.
What does that mean?
It is really a chicken heart, because it's essentially punishing your partner because they hurt you and not telling them what they did.
Right.
That's another killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also it's super childish, in my opinion. You know, it's like when you're
use your words.
When you're a kid and someone hurts you, hurts your feelings or whatever, and then you just treat them like that. Oh yeah, you hurt me. I mean, thinking of what Bobby said, of course, the person who hurt the other person, they're the ones that should be dealing with all this stuff in the first place, because they're the ones that did it, right? But if you hurt someone and then on top of that you're isolating them and gaslighting them and all that, you're just making it way worse. And yeah, there's no way to look at this that I see as any good. All right, so everyone answered I answered, Jen answered.
Did you answer? Yeah, Glenn and
yeah.
Yep.
Everyone did. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 5, going out to dinner, events, or spending time with another. Going
Is
out
this
to
the
dinner.
opposite sex or
We have
same
to
sex?
Well, might be either. Depends on the relationship, but I think you know what
Yeah.
I mean.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you get it.
Yeah, got it.
I'll go first on this one, and it is absolutely delightful to me that Jen makes it very clear what she expects from me in this area. I've got guy friends, a couple of guy friends, but before Jen and I met, I got it all out of my system. They're going out all the time and doing all of that, and I just don't care to do it. So it's not really an issue, but she made it very clear to me, even with doing TSL and, people coming along and wanting to talk and Facebook Messenger and stuff. She made a rule, which I have followed from the beginning. What?
It just makes me sound like a headmaster.
No. I'll even it out.
That's what I'm waiting for this one. Yeah. Come on. I suppose she beats him too with a cane. Sorry.
Just with kisses.
She didn't want me talking to women in Facebook Messenger, and I think it's totally reasonable.
By yourself. We had
By
talked
myself.
about doing it together. Okay.
And we did do it together. So we started making 3-way chats if there was a person that was involved with TSL in some way or something else, whatever. And so Jen would be privy to that conversation. And I think it's reasonable. It removes any possibility of there being an emotional attachment to another woman. Now, it's not really an issue, I don't think, for her if I go watch a movie with my male friend or whatever.
Yeah, if it was a woman, the rule goes both ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I could do whatever I want to do, but you, mister.
Right. No, well, just speaking honestly, I'm not going to be cool if Jen meets a work friend guy and he invites her to dinner or out to play pool or whatever. No, I'm not cool with that. And it's not at all, before anyone says anything, it's not that I don't trust Jen. That's not the issue. I trust Jen. There's not a part of me that thinks that she would do anything. It's other people. I don't trust the work friend. I don't trust other people in that way. So I wouldn't be cool with it. And we do most things together anyway, but just theoretically, that is, as Glenn said, it depends on the relationship, whether it's cheating or not. If the other person doesn't have any problem with you doing it and you're going out with someone of the opposite sex and the person you're with thinks that's fine, I think it's dangerous, but it wouldn't be cheating if it was in the open. It wouldn't be betrayal either if it was in the open. Now, if there was a rule and you went against it, then we're talking about something else. Marisa, number 5, going out to dinner, events, or spending time with another. Do you see that as cheating, betrayal, or something else?
It would have to be put in specific context within the parameters of the specific relationship in question. Some people are okay with that. Some people are not. As a rule, I'm not 100% comfortable with that, but I'm not super worried about that now. Maybe 20 years ago, I'd get my dander up a little more about something like that. But you either trust the people, that you're in the relationship with, or you do not.
Right.
And you're going to be able to trust them, in any situation.
Yeah.
And everybody has their own boundaries and how they establish their relationships, and that's
Sure.
cool. Me personally, I never had a problem with, let's say, Diana's dad going out and, shoot, man, he was always more interested in, playing guitar and doing other things, and so
Yeah.
I was fine. He was never, of all the problems I had with him, that particular one was not a problem. But
Right.
um that's not to say that wasn't an issue in other relationships, though.
Right.
And I
Right.
think it is a good idea to establish a, uh, what's the
Like
word I'm looking
boundaries?
for? Yeah, boundaries. It's okay to have ground rules, or you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
what you've done. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Across the board, I'd say that's fair. But I think those degrees vary
Yeah.
from relationship to relationship.
Sure.
So, and I think a red flag automatically goes up when someone wants to just do the "do as I say, but not as I do" card, or it's
Mhm.
okay for me to do this, but you better not. Those are
Yeah.
some things to look out for.
Sure. Absolutely. Jen, did you answer?
What was the question? Oh, no, I did not.
Okay.
Let's see.
Going
I'm
out
just
to
gonna.
dinner, events, or spending time with another, do you see that as cheating, betrayal, or something else?
I think it depends. I think if it's, if you're a woman and you're going out with your girlfriends or vice versa, I think there's obviously more leeway and comfort there.
Hmm.
Um, if it's the opposite sex, I think it all boils down to like what Nez was saying, the boundaries of the relationship. Now, this isn't specific because there could be some shady stuff happening at these outings that aren't mentioned in this question.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it could be fine if both partners felt comfortable with it.
Sure.
Um, what was I'm trying to think. What was movies? What else? Dinner?
Dinner, events. I think it's just in general things that you
Yeah,
do with someone else. I
spending
mean,
time. Gosh, I know this is tricky because I have heard people that have had opposite sex like best friends before they got married and everything was fine and everybody
yeah.
trusted each other. I
Uh-huh.
think I think the majority of the stories we hear where it's inappropriate,
Yeah.
like if you're a couple, it would be nice if that friend asked both of you out to
Yeah.
the thing.
Good
I
point.
don't know. It's and it kind of depends on what's happening. Like, is this like romantic dinners and
Right.
like, a friend asking an opposite sex friend that's married to be their plus one at a wedding? Like, there's some things that are like, that's really sketchy.
Right. Sure.
Um, yeah. So I think it's not
Situational.
as clear cut. Now, for me personally, I'll just share from me because that's
Yeah.
a little more cut and dry. I wouldn't be very comfortable with it.
Right.
And it's not because I don't trust you. It's kind of the same
No.
answer you gave. I just, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Why set yourself up for the possibility, even if you don't do anything yourself, of being in a
yeah,
situation where someone else does something and then you've got to deal with that?
yeah,
Yeah. I think it's
yeah,
dangerous. Thanks, Jen.
yeah.
Glenn.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think we diverge on this one. I'm a lot more. I see myself as a lot more flexible than you guys on this one.
Yeah,
Sure.
Look, I basically, if Sandra said, "Well, look, a friend of mine's coming round, we would like to go to dinner," I'd say, "Go enjoy yourself."
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't even think about it. I just, to be honest, I'd say, "Well, if you think it's right, go do it,"
Mm.
and she would do the same for me.
Right.
I mean, there are people in our past, particularly, that are important to us, and why can't you have some time together with them? That's personal space and time. I mean, I think it's a great thing. I think it also cements trust within the relationship in that you're prepared to accept what the other person says and let them run with it.
Yeah.
So, I don't think it would have to be something for me to jack up to it. And as far as speaking with people online, well, Sandra speaks whoever she likes, and so do I. It's irrelevant. We don't even. There's not. See, the thing is, the deal is that there's nothing that either of us would say to someone online that is not available should the other party want to go and read it. But of course, neither of us is ever going to do it, because why would we need to? We just trust each other to. Then if she talks to guys, I talk to some women. So what's the problem?
Yeah.
I just don't get it. To me, I just don't even think twice about, is this a problem, an issue?
Sure.
An issue. Just run with it.
Okay.
Crikey. It works.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've told Sandra, I must be honest, she thinks she's talking to Chris, what's his name? Tom Hiddleston and Chris Martin. I said, no, dear, they're scammers. So I have a problem because they might pilfer her computer information.
Right. Right.
And you can't have a credit card.
No.
Nope.
So, but that's not lack of trust. That's just her brain the way it is now. So
Yeah. Okay.
But, yeah, I don't know. You should also mention having emotional relationships with people of the same. Sorry, what you said of, like same sex as your partner, like a woman have an emotional relationship with another guy as well. I don't really find I'm not really that objecting to that either. I'm pretty open to it. I don't see it cheating at all. I think the issue becomes more when you don't declare it. I mean,
yeah.
That's
I
a
got
good
an
one.
emotional relationship with a lady on the internet. She's a lovely person. You can't help but, if you're that sort of personality, you are emotionally involved with their life. If you share things about your life, you become emotionally involved. That doesn't mean you've got your head racing or anything. I'm going to cheat on yada yada yada. You there's a lot of it's about the integrity of the situation. You can still be connected, but you do. I don't like the word boundaries, but there are boundaries, but they're just unwritten ones because you don't overstep. That's respect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it
if
is
someone
respect.
wants to overstep the mark, well, then I'd be out of there
Yeah.
because I would find it inappropriate.
Sure.
And I mean, if you're on the net speaking to another woman or another man, well, the first thing I do is I say straight up that I'm happily married. They talk about my wife all the time, so
Yeah.
it's pretty clear that there's no interest
Yeah.
I like them, but my wife comes first. And so you've established the guidelines, isn't it? What's the problem? There's none.
So
I don't know if it's like America and that just affairs are so rampant, emotional and physical. So it's almost like this
I don't know.
monster in the dark corner that everybody's, not frustrated, concerned about.
Well, I would have thought if Sandra can form a bond with another human being and it's a positive thing for her, why would I not encourage it? Because that means if I didn't, I'd just feel weird. I'd think, oh, come on, I trust you. You do what you feel you want to do. You're free agent. So, do you have
yeah,
what I said?
yeah, I get what you're saying, and I know in Europe it's almost. I mean, this is a generalization, but in Europe you have your wife and then you have your mistress. So it just seems like it's way more permissive. Well, here it happens a lot, but it's not as permissive socially.
Yeah.
But I see your point, and that makes sense that you would answer that way. I
Well,
mean,
it does too, because don't forget, I said at the beginning, I can't even mindset the thought of cheating.
right?
For me, just doesn't. It's out of my reference frame.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
I'm not even thinking like that.
yeah. Well, I can't imagine either. I just would never do it.
So therefore, well, that's how I'm seeing it. So therefore, I don't even think, someone can be cheating on me, because it just doesn't. It just doesn't happen. It never happened.
Yeah,
It's easy. There's no stress.
yeah.
You do what you like, and you're
Sure.
trusted.
Okay,
So,
great.
okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Welcome to Follow the White Rabbit. They say if you are suspicious of the person that your partner is going out with, are you really trusting your partner to be stand up to inappropriate behavior and say no? I won't.
Oh,
We
I
won't.
can answer that one, please.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Well, if I trust my wife to make good choices, she's not going to do. She's smart enough to know, without me having to say one thing, what may be appropriate and not appropriate.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with me. It's her choice, not mine.
Right.
That's all I say.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. Follow the White Rabbit. Welcome. We're glad you're here, and we will not share your channel link. Not a problem. Thank you for saying that up front. I appreciate it. Okay, everyone answered that one?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Number 6, giving compassionate and emotional support to someone other than your partner. Giving compassionate and emotional support to someone other than your partner. Let's go with Marisa on this one. Number 6.
Giving compassionate and emotional support to anybody is a good thing. That
Sure.
doesn't mean you're doing anything bad or promiscuous or illicit
Right.
or sinful. It's okay to be understanding and compassionate and
Yeah.
merciful. Those are good things.
Sure.
If you are doing those without giving in to any temptation or hurting or being sinful or destructive to yourself or other people, then then that's good if you can do those things wholesomely.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Great.
Beautiful answer.
Hello to Johnny Smallpepper. Welcome, my friend. Glad you're here. Thank you for stopping by. Glenn, giving compassionate and emotional support to someone other than your partner.
I think it's a wonderful thing to be able to do, and I think if in line with what we've said before, you would be sharing that with your partner anyway. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it's once again, it's just communicating what's going on in your life rather than it just puts everything in the open. So no problem at all. Go for it. I think it's lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, Jen?
I would agree with Marisa and Glenn. I think it's a wonderful thing to extend to people, and I do think it's something Jesus wants us to do.
Yeah.
That's pretty much cut and dry. Obviously, if this were somebody that you were like attracted to or an ex, I'd say,
Yeah.
you and your significant other can show them all those things together.
Yeah, exactly.
That's an option. So,
Exactly.
but yeah, it's a beautiful thing to extend to other people, and it's the human experience, I think.
Yeah.
Those things.
Yeah, Jamie adds, as long as you are not neglecting your partner while giving compassion and support, there's nothing wrong with it. That's a
really
good point. Jamie adds to it. Yeah. To me, first priority is my wife, and I need to be compassionate and giving emotional support to her before anyone else. But as long as that's in place, I also don't have any issue. And as Jen pointed out, biblically speaking, we're supposed to be salt and light to the world. We're supposed to be light and love. And that includes being compassionate and emotional with other people. As Jen said, yeah, if I'm physically attracted to someone else, I have to be very careful what kind of compassion and emotional support I give. But in general, I don't have any problem with it. So we got 4 ticks in the that's okay column on that one. Number 7, flirting with another in a suggestive or sexually inferred manner. I'll go first.
Nope.
It's gonna be real. Yeah, nope.
Yeah, you good.
Nope. Not appropriate or acceptable in my opinion. Now, other people can do what they want, but I'm the one answering the question. So, flirting. In my first marriage, I got accused of flirting because I'm nice to waiters and waitresses alike, not just women. When we go out in public, I'm a gregarious person. I like meeting new people, And I might ask them questions about themselves. I might, whatever, but it's in front of the other person. And she was jealous of that. And we got in a big fight one time after going to a restaurant. And I was just being myself with the waitress. Wasn't attracted to her, not in the least. Wasn't thinking about doing anything. Wasn't trying to set anything up. And it certainly wasn't sexual in nature. So maybe that doesn't apply. But the flirting part, some people are just flirty in general. But the sexually inferred manner, I don't even like saying stuff like that to people. Not really that kind of guy to infer anything. Even when I haven't been in a relationship, it's just not me to do that. So, but yeah, absolutely not. Jen, do you want to add to your nope or
nope?
Nope. Okay. Marisa, flirting with another in a suggestive or sexually inferred manner.
Can I film them while they're doing it? No, I'm just kidding.
If you would have waited to laugh, that would have been even funnier.
Oh, boy. Absolutely not. Negatory.
Negatory.
No, thank you.
Okay. Glenn?
I really do not feel comfortable with flirting at all.
Oh.
It's just something in me that I don't like it. I feel uncomfortable with it, and I certainly wouldn't be doing that with sexually inferred with somebody else, but I certainly would do it with my wife.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference. But behind the door, I think it's fantastic. Outside, I'm cringing to do it. Yeah. I wouldn't even do it with my wife outside the door because I think that's inappropriate too.
Wow. Agreed.
Oh, yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Well, we all ticked the box on that one too. Number 8, secretive online communications with others, even if innocent. This will be quick.
Secret is the key word there.
It is the key word.
Yeah, because if you and your spouse feel fine about a person that you're talking to one-on-one, if it's out in the open and everybody knows about it, I say that's fine. As long as everybody's being respected.
Yeah.
But secret, nope.
That was, yeah, you're right, Jen. The key word there is secretive. If you remove secretive and just said online communications with others, even if innocent, then that'd be fine. And again, I would add the caveat, at least for myself, that as long as Jen was cool with it, then that wouldn't be a problem. But it's the secretive part that is a no for me. And Jen, that was your answer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Glenn, number 8.
I think it's just natural. Look, I don't have okay. I think for me, although it's not expected by Sandra, it's not my nature to keep stuff secret. Even if I mention in passing, the person I spoke to that lives in Ontario, not that there is one, but just said, etc., etc. It's more in passing, so there's no. Just being secretive about something just doesn't really. It's not part of our relationship. We just open automatically. Don't even think about it.
Yeah,
I don't think it's betrayal as such or cheating as such, but I think it's just way easier if you just say no secrets.
Yeah.
No secrets.
Yeah, you don't seem like a secretive person to me, anyway. But you answered the way you answered. I don't see that as anything good.
Well, it's the same old story. If you don't share it, it can cause a rift.
Yeah, absolutely. Marisa, what do you think about number 8?
I agree that secret is the key word.
Yeah.
If you are keeping a secret from someone, what are you doing? Are you being honest and upfront, or are you not? Which is it? You can't ride the fence forever on that one. 'Tis either one or the other.
Right. All right.
True.
Tick the box on that one. Everybody agreed on number 9. Number 10, fantasizing about being with someone else, whether it be physical or emotional. Fantasizing about.
I think you might have missed some. 9. Go to 9.
Oh, sorry, I did. Number 9. I did. Thank you. Engaging in cyberspace relationships of a sexual nature.
I'll say a quick no on that one.
No.
No.
Nope. I would be so, even if I came close to that, I would feel so much guilt about it that I would have to fess up, even if I was tempted to do that. And that's really, all of these are because my relationship is important to me. It's not a decision I had to make. I have wanted a relationship like this for a long time, ever since my parents sat me down when I was 14, and they talked to me about praying for my future spouse, and I took it to heart, and I did constantly. And I've talked before about how I had a journal that I wrote to my future wife, and that was in the same realm for me. And I just forgot what question we were on. Engaging in cyberspace relationships of a sexual nature. I wouldn't do that. It's just not who I am, and it's just so dangerous, in my opinion. What do you think, Jen?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. And I would say a lot of times if two people are connected really well, because one of the reasons people seek out, these side relationships online and other stuff is because sometimes, not all the time, sometimes the need isn't being met. And I don't mean just sexual. I mean connecting, on a human to human level, being open and honest, and being connected in that way. So it's leaving the door open for other, seeking for it elsewhere because you're not getting it at home. And that sounds so about the physical parts. I'm not trying to make it sound like that.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's not okay.
Right.
In my opinion.
So I had lost my train of thought, and the reason I brought up the praying, I said that this relationship is important to me. I've been waiting for it for a long time, and it surpasses even my own expectations and my imaginations. I wouldn't do anything to jeopardize that. And engaging in cyberspace relationships of a sexual nature, even being tempted to do that, would be very difficult for me. Okay, so I added that. Now my answer is complete. Glenn,
did I interrupt you?
No, you didn't. I lost my train of thought, and
okay.
I'm grateful that you answered. And then while you were answering, I was listening to you, but it came back to me why I even brought that thing up. I just literally lost my train of thought while I was
flew out of the head.
What was I talking about? I didn't remember what the question was for a minute. Why I went there. Marisa, engaging in cyberspace relationships of a sexual nature.
That is not cool. That is operating out of a spirit of lust. And scripture tells us that even if you look at somebody lustfully, you're just as guilty, basically, of go ahead and fornicating. So you don't have to touch anybody to be getting into things that you shouldn't be getting into, at least from the Christian perspective where the Bible is concerned. So, yeah, no, that's a no for me.
Okay. Thank you. Glenn?
It sounds like betrayal. I mean, once again, if it's with the person I'm in a relationship with, I've got no problem at all with it. But I think doing it with someone else, it's cringeworthy to me once again. I'm pretty down the line. I mean, I think I can't even get it into my head that I would even consider doing such a thing.
Right.
It feels very yucky.
Yucky. That's a good
Sleazy
word.
To me. It just doesn't compute with my personality at all.
Yeah. Tick the box on that one. We all agree on that one. Number 10, fantasizing about being with someone else, whether it be physical or emotional. We'll ask Marisa first on this one. Fantasizing about being with someone else, whether it be physical or emotional.
I think we've all been there once upon a time, but you know, the thing about fantasy is that's all it is. And at this point in my life, I don't even what? I've got enough reality to deal with, and it's hard enough to maintain a relationship and keep things alive and interesting and and in a normal healthy way. I can't even imagine trying to incorporate that kind of fantasy life. And there's people that do. Some people that is their thing. Well, it's I've been there. It's not my thing anymore. Very exhausting. Very leaves you empty. It was no good for me.
Right.
So that's a no for me.
Thank you, Marisa. Glenn, fantasizing about being with someone else, whether it be physical or emotional. What's your take?
I haven't done so, but I really don't have a problem with it. If someone's like wants to do fantasy, I mean, there's lots of fantasies that you can expand on, and I'd say, well, I have no. I just say you'll embrace whatever is good for yourself. So I can't control another person. I can only do what say for myself. So I don't really. So it just doesn't come into my head.
Sure.
Why would I do so? I think if I think probably trying to think through, it may well be when things aren't going so well it just comes up. But
Yeah.
some people will just live in a fantasy world all the time. So let's face it.
Yeah.
They're never on the planet. So who can say? Who knows what goes on in the head of another person?
Yeah.
I know, right?
So don't bother trying to find out.
There you go. Bobby says, as far as fantasizing, I'd say celebrities are fine unless it borders on obsession, and real people that we know would not be fine. Well, thank you, Bobby. I appreciate you answering the question. Okay, so me, this is the way I look at it, and it's only my answer. If I'm fantasizing about someone else other than my wife, I think there's a problem. And that's the way I see it. I don't expect everyone else to feel that way. That'd be ridiculous. But for me, if I'm at work and I'm thinking about someone else, whether it's physical or emotional, I think that there's something wrong with my connection. I feel like Jen fulfills my physical and emotional and spiritual needs, and then so if something changed where I'm thinking about someone else in that way, then there's an issue. I feel like I'm a very different person than a lot of other guys. I mean, I've been around other married people talking about, oh, I saw this girl at such and such, and gosh, I'd like to do something with her and all that. And even before I was in a relationship, that felt like a betrayal to me, even if I was single at the time, to hear a married person talk that way. And I like what Marisa said. That's from Scripture. You know, if you're lusting after a woman in your heart, it's considered adultery. And I have thought about that chapter and that verse a lot. And I think, in my opinion, what Jesus was saying, if you're allowing it to be part of your thought life, then it's so dangerous that you might as well have done it.
That's a good point.
I think that's just the way I see it. I'm sure people would disagree with that, and that's okay. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
And in this fantasizing, it falls into that category for me, even if I'm not thinking about them sexually, because that's part of the question. Emotional. If I'm thinking or fantasizing about an emotional relationship with someone other than my wife, I feel like there's a problem, because I need to go to my wife for emotional and physical and spiritual, just everything. And if my needs are not being met, I'm going to look at what my problem is, and maybe you can blame it on the other person. Well, if she was doing this, or she was doing that, or he was doing this, or he was doing that, then I wouldn't be doing this. Well, that's passing the buck on to someone else. What's your problem? that you're doing this. That's what I say, and I'm talking about myself. So that's my answer to that. What do you say, Jen? Fantasizing about being with someone else, whether it be physical or emotional.
I think both are not good.
Right.
I know there's couples out there that don't mind sharing their fantasies, and and I they're them, I am me. But for me, I'm not cool with it.
Yeah.
Whether it's me, thinking about doing something like that, or you, I
Right.
think it's a betrayal, in my opinion. You made a really great point about the thought life. Our thought lives, I tell you, I think they're more intricate than we could ever wrap our minds around, and how
Sure.
much power our thoughts have over us. Like when we talk about meditating on things, if you're meditating on better things, I don't know, it's sort of like a starting point for what we do with our actions. So I think it's dangerous too. Like when you start entertaining ideas like that, you might think it's innocent at first, and maybe it is a little bit.
Yeah.
But then it tends to grow.
Yep.
And I agree with what you said too, that it really does reflect on the relationship, in the sense that the person that's doing it, there's something wrong. And it might not always be that just that one person. It might be something wrong in the relationship, that there's no connection or not enough time being spent, and so people are getting sidetracked. Because they're not being direct and honest with their partner.
Yeah, sidetracked. I like that. I like that word, throwing it in there. That's good. Thank you. Yeah. Hello to DMC Productions. Welcome. Even if you're just here for a brief time to do a thumbs up for the channel, thank you for the thumbs up. Appreciate that. Yeah, welcome. Everyone answer that one? Did I forget anyone?
I think so.
Okay, number 11. This is a quick one for me. Watching pornography without telling your partner. Nope, nope. No, I'm sure to some people this is going to sound like bragging, but here's the truth. I didn't do it in my first marriage, and I haven't done it in this marriage. I see it as betrayal. I see it as adultery, for the same reason that I mentioned the scripture that Marisa brought up earlier about even lusting after another person is committing adultery in your heart. I can't get that. I mean, I've quote unquote deconstructed from some of the abusive things and the toxic parts that people throw into Christianity, but that doesn't mean that I've thrown out the entire Bible and I don't believe in the tenets, certainly of the words of Jesus. No, I haven't deconstructed the words of Jesus. So he said that lusting after a woman is committing adultery in your heart. That's good enough for me. And again, for the reason I mentioned earlier, my relationship with Jen is super important. And then, the other marriage didn't work out, but it was important to me back then. I took serious my vows, and then I made a commitment to this other person. And watching pornography is cheating, in my opinion. It just is. If you're thinking sexually about another person, and there's a physical component to that, I would assume, I don't know anyone that just watches porn just to watch porn. There's a reason for it. There's a reason for watching it. So taking that into consideration, that's a nope for me. What do you say to number 11, Jen? Watching pornography without telling your partner.
That would be a nope for me.
Yeah.
I think it's cheating, betrayal, and I think it's just my opinion in general. I think it's self-harm. That's just me.
Yeah, great. Marisa, number 11, watching pornography without telling your partner.
I don't want to watch it in a box. I don't want to watch it with a fox. Anywhere, anytime, for any reason. No pornography, none, zero zip. Zero porn tolerance. There you go.
So not in a train, not in the rain? No?
Nope. No, thank you.
Nobody dope.
Bobby says porn sucks. Yes, it does, Bobby. You're absolutely right. Bobby says next you'll tell me it's wrong to fantasize about being a millionaire because it's greed and carnal eye of the needle. No. And Bobby, you make whatever decisions you want for yourself. There's no judgment here, and that's why I'm very careful to say, in my opinion, or this is what I think for me, or I think all of us are answering from our own perspective. We're not. Hopefully, no one is implying that they feel like they're putting this on everyone else that they do it. This is just
personal
our opinion.
convictions.
And I fantasize about being a millionaire all the time. It's not, to me, it's not greed. It's just natural when you're struggling financially to think about what your life would be like if you had that. But in terms of the relationship and watching, I'm a rich man with the wife that I have, so I'm not gonna go slumming with pornography. I'm not gonna do that. Glenn, watching pornography without telling your partner.
Oh, I'm going to go more flexible on this one. Once again, it is, if you're being secretive, it's the same deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really fussed either way. I think number 12 is probably more where I could give a more specific answer. Look, I think it depends on the nature of your relationship and the attitude of each person, you know?
Yeah.
So, do you mind if I go to number 12? Because that could put it in better context.
Yeah, you took the idea right out of my mind. Go ahead with number 12, watching pornography.
Well, I've been on both sides of this fence. Some women don't like it.
Yeah.
Some women do like it, and pornography gives them an opportunity,
Uh-huh.
if you watch it with them, for living out, I'm trying to be polite, living out their fantasies that may not be possible within the relationship you have. And I'd say go for it.
Right.
I've got no problem at all with it. They've
Right.
declared it, and it's good for them. They enjoy it. It spices up your sex life. I mean, yeah, I've got no
Sure.
issues at all. I just say, yeah, do what you think.
Yeah. Okay.
And I can say, having been on both sides of that fence, neither side of the fence is, in terms of my ongoing relationship, is any different.
Right.
It hasn't affected it positively or negatively. It's just the same.
Sure.
It hasn't
I get that.
caused any issues within any of my relationships.
Yeah.
No, I'm just flexible. I'll go with the flow.
Sure.
So I don't have the big objection. I mean, my objection to porn is that where there's trafficking and people
Yes.
are non-consenting adults, and of course
Yeah.
other things. So
Right.
I'm dead set, obviously, against any form of exploitation, whether it be with adults or children. That's a given.
Sure.
But with consenting adults and stuff like that, no, I've got no problem with it.
Okay. Jen, number
And
12.
I need to add, I don't think with your partner, I don't see it as cheating, betrayal, or anything like that. I don't look at it like that at all.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Glenn. Number 12, go with the flow on that one, Jen. Watching pornography together with your partner. What do you think?
Oh, is that the specific question?
Yeah, watching
That was
pornography.
different from the last one.
Yeah, it
Hold
is.
on.
The first one was about watching porn without telling your partner. This one is watching porn together with your partner.
Oh, okay, gotcha. For me, I'm still gonna say no.
Mm-hmm.
I like the the sexual feelings and stuff to be directed at my husband
Yeah.
and us together. I don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, part of it might be my upbringing, but
Sure.
I just think it's gross. That's just
Yeah.
where I'm at, I think being naked, it's just such a personal thing that you
Yeah.
share with people that you trust and
Sure.
people that you feel comfortable with, a person,
Right.
some people, a room full of people know. And I just, I don't know. I can't get past the fact that it's just such a personal thing and special to me.
Yeah.
And intimate. And so it just feels weird to me
Mhm.
to watch other people do. And I'm not saying I haven't. I have in the past.
Mhm.
Just where I'm at now, I'm like, no, and I don't need it.
Right.
Yeah. And if you brought it up, us watching it together, I would tell you that I'm not comfortable with it.
Well, yeah, and
That's
that'd be
just
the
me.
end of it. Yeah, that'd be the end of it.
So,
Thank you, Jen.
but I do respect other people's opinions, on this particular topic. I know it could be hot button. And I'll say that I second
Yeah.
what Glenn said. There's so much information coming out about people being trafficked
Yeah.
and used. And I think at one point there was this website called Someone Else's Daughter. I think that
Yeah.
was the title of this
Yeah. We
website.
talked about
And
that.
ever since I watched that short documentary, I just couldn't get that out of my head. I mean,
Yeah.
it just seems like objectification to me
Yeah.
for other people's pleasure. And humans, they're human beings, they're people. Each of them have, their own life and story, and we have no idea. There's no way to know if they're being treated fairly as adult film actors, or if they're
Right.
drugged. Or, I mean, sometimes I'm sure you could know if somebody's drugged out, but
Yeah.
I'm like, nope,
Yeah.
not for me.
Okay. Thank you, Jen.
Yeah.
Bobby says, I think that what couples want to do together, as long as they're in agreement and they're not hurting anyone or doing anything illegal, have at it. And I agree, Bobby. If on this question, watching pornography together, so hypothetical situation, Jen comes to me and says, hey, I found this movie. I think it's interesting, whatever. It's pornography. I would like to watch it with you and maybe act some things out or something like that. And she was into it. I would at least discuss it. I'm not saying I would jump right into it. We'd talk about the possibilities of, what could happen. And, maybe I'm overthinking it, but that's what I would want to do. But I do feel like for other people, if they're both into it, they can do what they want to do. Not a problem for me. That's their relationship, not mine. But in general, on this question, I have no desire to watch porn, period. And that's just it. I have in the past, and I have, by the grace of God, worked through that. And what Jen has brought up a couple times, and Glenn brought up with the trafficking, and someone's daughter, someone's sister, someone's niece, blah blah blah, and with three girl nieces of my own, thinking about the possibility of them getting into a situation like that. I don't have any kids of my own, but it would be the same if it were my daughter. Nope. No, I don't want any part of that, and I don't want to spend my money if there's any chance of anyone getting trafficked or supporting that industry that does, whether people want to admit it or not, does take advantage of many, many people and destroys people's lives. It absolutely does. So it's a no for me on number 12. All right, 3 more questions and we're almost to the top of the hour. So the next one, wait, Marisa, did you answer this one?
Yes, I did. I said no to
Okay.
porn.
Thank you. Number 13, if you have cheated, do you consider it cheating if your partner revenge cheats? Yes, both are cheating. You cheated, if that's the case, and they revenge cheat, it's still cheating. I can't twist it and do the mental gymnastics to make it not cheating because what's right for what I did was wrong to begin with. And so she's going to do another wrong, a revenge cheat. Nope. I should have never done it in the first place, but it doesn't make it right if she does it or vice versa. It's just not.
I think some people come to the table with even Stevens, you know.
No, that's true. An eye for an eye, tooth
Yeah.
for a tooth. If you take the Yahweh's Old Testament version of things, then it's like, well, you did it to me, I'm going to do it back to you. New Testament's a little different. Don't take revenge. Don't do evil for evil.
Yeah, turn the other cheek.
Yeah, that's not a good idea. So either way, no revenge cheating. No cheating, period. Certainly not revenge cheating. What do you think, Jen?
Oh, I thought I was muted. Yeah, that'd be a no for me.
Okay.
Did you hear it?
Yeah, I
I
did.
wasn't sure if it was breaking up.
Nope, I got you. Marisa?
Real quick, it's all bad. It ain't no good. I've been on both sides of that, and it's bad all the way around. No good.
Yeah. Glenn?
Yes, sounds like cheating to me. Now this is
Yeah.
another personal. I've been on. Not that I haven't cheated, as I said, but I have had relationships with some who have revenge cheated, and of course my first question to them when it's disclosed is, well, what did you get from it? and unilaterally, and was it worth? And the other question, of course, that goes with it, was it worth it? And unilaterally, the answer has always been, I got nothing out of it, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
So I don't realise that, it just doesn't. It might in that moment make you somehow feel like you've got square, but when the dust settles, it doesn't really seem to have been a positive experience from what I've been told.
Yeah.
Now,
Right.
for others it may well be, but I've never heard anyone personally tell me it was something that they're really pleased with themselves for doing when it comes to the bottom line.
Yeah.
So
All right. Check the boxes on number 13. Number 14, your partner goes to work conference with another and shares a room with them. And for number 14, I'm assuming it's the opposite sex. I don't think I would have any problem sharing a room with a work buddy guy, so assume that it's the opposite sex. Or if you're gay, then, it would be the same sex, but you get what I mean. Your partner goes to work conference with another and shares a room with them. I wouldn't even put myself in the situation. I don't think it's always wrong. If it was someone that Jen knew and she approved or whatever, and she knew I wasn't going to be tempted and the other person wasn't going to make a move on me, there were a lot of variables that it goes to that in each relationship. If it's agreed upon, it may seem different, but just speaking personally, I wouldn't even put myself in that situation of being tempted. I'm not gay, so that's where I'm not putting myself in a situation. If it's a same sex situation, for me, not an issue. But opposite sex, even if I'm not attracted to them physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever, it still is a situation that could cause problems, and I would say no to that. Marisa, number 14.
No, absolutely not. No.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the question is, do I want my partner in the relationship to be shacking up with the opposite sex? That would be a no. So, for whatever reason, no.
For whatever reason.
I was going to say it would be a no for me, but not
Yeah.
just out of respect for my husband, but I personally wouldn't be comfortable with it. It would just, even if I'd known the person a long time, you just don't know. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? You don't know what other people are thinking or
Right.
that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Just say no.
Perfect. Glenn?
yeah, well, if there was only one room and it was with somebody else, the first thing I'd be saying, well, it's a one bedroom room, and I'd say, have you got a sofa bed? And I'd sleep on that. Probably other than that, I'd sleep on the floor.
Right.
I wouldn't feel that comfy otherwise.
Right.
But I really, in terms of the room, and it was all that was available. I mean, often you go out in other places where we go travelling. I mean, that's just how it works.
Yeah.
You don't get choice who you
Good point.
spend time with. So you deal with it in a respectful manner. So yeah, I think we're all flexible enough to know what feels comfortable and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trust.
Okay. Last one. Your partner engages in explicit sexual activity with another without intercourse. I think this isn't going to be a surprise to anyone. Absolutely not. If emotional affair is still cheating in my mind, then it certainly is still cheating with other, like even a kiss. I mean, I would feel bad if I held someone's hand that wasn't my wife. I don't want to risk anything ruining the relationship that I have. So to me, it's just all a no. But certainly when it comes to kissing and touching and all that stuff, even if it was without intercourse, it in my mind would still be cheating, and I don't want that. I don't want to hurt Jen either. But again, this is who I am as a person. I didn't do any of that in my first marriage, and it certainly was not the level of relationship that this is now. So this is a core value for me. Yeah, nope. Jen?
Yeah, it would be a no for me. You explained it beautifully. I'm going to leave it at that. Short and sweet.
Okay. Marisa?
Yes. What about now? What? I was reading text.
No, that's okay. Thank you for telling me. I appreciate that. Your partner engages in explicit sexual activity with another without intercourse. So handsy, touchy.
No, absolutely forbidden. Absolutely not. No, that's a game changer, rule breaker. Get out of here. No. Oh,
We got the laugh and then the
abrupt nope.
Nope. I love it. Glenn, what do you say?
First I'm going to ask you, does that, what was in 15, constitute adultery, as you see? Because I thought the Bible was more about intercourse. That's why the question was sort of there too.
Oh, I would still characterize it as that, just because there's sexual stuff going on, even if there's not intercourse. But that's just me.
Crips?
Yeah, I agree. It's still cheating. You made a vow if you're married, whether under God or according to the state, you made a vow to be with this person, and maybe other people have open marriages, and for them that's fine. Not judging anyone; they can do what they want. Doesn't affect me at all. Jen and I don't have an agreement or an open marriage. So to me, I'm touching, kissing, feeling someone else up or whatever. It's cheating.
Who was it, Crips?
Wasn't anyone.
Touching, feeling someone else up. I just wonder who it was.
Yeah, me too. I want to know.
Sorry. Thanks,
That's all right.
Wonder Glenn.
One. Yeah. Who didn't answer?
My turn.
Go ahead, Glenn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh.
No. I don't. Well, if I said that that's not betrayal, I would be very inconsistent with everything else.
That is true.
This evening. So no. What was I going to say? Oh, there was one other thing I said. Like in terms of you comforting a person of the opposite sex in distress by put your arm around them, hold their hand. I think that to my mind is just perfectly like normal, compassionate once again behaviour. I think, and if you can be like that, even regardless of whether it's a man or a woman, you just are being there as an emotional support. But I think once again, there's no connotations whatsoever. This is just being, someone with some humanity in them. And beautiful.
Yeah. But
I love that, Glenn. I don't know if this is just America, but people can take small gestures and run with it in their mind. I know women tend to do this more than guys, but guys do it too. I don't know if you'd agree or not, Jason or Marisa, but so there seems to be this like hypervigilant thought process of not wanting somebody to take something the wrong way, which is a shame because I wish we all could be more, like not touchy-feely, but what the words that were described that Glenn had said, just like holding someone's hand, giving them a hug, stuff like that. It just has gotten kind of like, crazy. I don't know if you guys agree or not, but
you mean you're saying hypervigilance is, maybe I'm not understanding you 100%.
Just the hypervigilance of wanting to make sure someone doesn't take something the wrong way. Like there's been times I haven't like given someone a hug because it was a guy and I didn't want him to get the wrong idea. And I think both sexes, at least here in America, deal with that. You're not wanting to give off the wrong impression. So you tend to be reluctant to show comfort and support,
Sure.
Weird.
I don't know how I think being careful is a good thing, but yeah, I can think of certain scenarios maybe that it might be a little too much, you know.
Yeah.
Like if you're with me and some woman starts crying and we're talking to her, you would probably hug her, so I wouldn't have to. But in front of you doing something like that,
Yeah. Like if you do that, I
gave
wouldn't
me the
mind.
nod, right? You'd give me the nod, and it would be okay with me. It's not a problem.
I think you'd see that as quite, quite wonderful. If I was
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
spouse of a person who had that in them, I'd be thanking my lucky stars that you're with a person with that in them.
right. I would agree. I would agree. Did everyone answer 15? Did I forget anyone? I think everyone did. Okay. Great questions. A lot of discussion came out of these. It was a wonderful write up. Great topic. And we'll see what we're going to do next week. Appreciate everyone being here. So I'll finish the write up and then we'll say our good nights. There could be 100 questions. So I ask, has anyone anything to add? I don't. These were really good questions, and I'm sure I could think of more, but these were really good, and I think we got the point across, and agreed mostly on all of them. I mean, there was a couple that we didn't all agree, but predominantly most of them, I think we all on the same page, which I find interesting. In closing, yesterday, a person in their 40s told me that there is an expectation that as one ages, passion is expected to drop off. I smiled. There is such a thing as having passion for life, and it is not age dependent, but one must be old to know such things. Go figure. And a quote, anyone who is observant, who discovers the person they have always dreamed of, knows that sexual energy comes into play before sex even takes place. The greatest pleasure isn't sex, but the passion with which it's practiced. When the passion is intense, then sex joins in to complete the dance, but it is never the principal aim. That's our friend
Wow.
Paulo Coelho.
That was beautiful.
It was beautiful. He has some really good, obviously, that's why Glenn uses them for write-ups. But yeah, I think of in all the 5 years that we've been doing this broadcast, maybe there was one or two that he said that I didn't fully agree with, but in general, yeah, it's good stuff. All right. That's it for this broadcast tonight. Again, thank everyone who's taken the time to join us. Thank you for listening to the playback. We appreciate you. Please give us a like on the channel. And if you have any comments to make, please put them in the comment box under the description. Also, Marisa put up earlier, and I saw that, which I appreciate, asked if anyone has any ideas for topics, anything. If you have any ideas, please share them. You can send it to our email. You can put it in the comments. You can comment in the chat on a broadcast, whatever you'd like. If there's a topic you'd like to hear us discuss, or if you'd like to do a write-up. If you've never done something like this before, you could put together your thoughts and we make a write-up out of it. We've done that before in the past. We would like you to be as involved with this as you want to be. So keep that in mind. So I'll say good night from me, and see you next Sunday. Hope everyone has a good week. Be safe out there, and be loving. Yeah, be the change you'd like to see in the world. I always thought that was a good way to look at
That's one of my
things.
favorites.
Yeah, rather than expecting other people to do it, you do it, and maybe other people fall in line. Put your own mask on first, then you can help other people with their mask. It's a good philosophy. Jen, take a minute to say goodbye to the peoples.
Yeah, great write-up, Glenn. Wonderful questions, very thought-provoking, and
Yeah.
I appreciate when we don't all agree.
Yeah.
I appreciate seeing other people's perspectives, but thank you guys for the discussions in the chat. As always, we really love hearing y'all's responses or ideas or opinions. If without you guys,
Indeed.
it would just be the four of us. talking each other's ear off.
Yeah,
Ears,
that's
not your
true.
ears.
That's true.
Have a great night, guys, and we will see you next Sunday. God bless.
All right. Thank you. Glenn, take a minute to say goodbye to the peoples.
I'll say good evening or good afternoon, which it is here. You know, I was just thinking about when I heard Jen's emotional context when she did last week's show, and even something like this, that they're topical, they are life situations, and the energy, to my mind, it feels different on the show when we deal with these sorts of things. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is, but it just feels like we go up a couple of notches with the energy, and I think those are the shows that I enjoy more than the ones that tend to be a bit stoic. You know, that's where people in chat are contributing, and I think that's just fantastic.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Glenn, and appreciate the time that you put into it and thinking of the questions and all of that. I know you pulled it out of the spreadsheet or but it always comes across really well, and thank you. Last but not least, certainly our friend Marisa of the Nez Lover channel. Could you take a minute to say goodbye to the peoples and close us out if you don't mind, please?
No problem, Jason. Thank you so much. Thank you, Glenn, for another wonderful, thought-provoking, and great write-up, great topic. Thank you, everybody who participated. And certainly thank you to everybody who shares this out and catches that replay. We look forward to any comments, questions, or suggestions. Please reach out. We'll reach back. Well, next week I will be taking on the write-up, and we might continue down some of the little paths we've started walking down these last couple of Sundays. So looking forward to next Sunday's discussion here on True Story Live. Let us pray. I'll try and make a good write-up.
You're going to do
Have
great.
fun, no matter what. Thank
Till
you
you're
everybody for coming.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, I was going to say, you said we'll have fun till your daddy takes the T-bird
Well, we're
away.
going to have all kinds of fun. Thank you all so much. And God willing, we will see you next Sunday right here on True Story Live. Good night and God bless.